Okay, hello there. So, more documentation. Uh, Today is 2023-0918. It's about 800 Arizona. This is going to be for the duration covering from AM 2023-0915 to AM 2023-0918. And just going to kind of run through this. I've got some notes prepped. We're just going to run them. So in the morning, 2023-0915 a.m. So in the morning, Jared, JaMaliKor, and I were set apart for our life missions. This is done by direct blessing. Not going to get too much into that. It was an interesting encounter. Instructions were given to each of us, but these will not be shared ever. It's a confidential matter for each of us. We will be ultimately successful in our missions that was promised to us by Jesus, and we have become a tight unit. Those who moved or forced us into this position expected us to basically fight it out. It's like be hostile to each other, and they had a great expectation for that, and that's really what they wanted. Was some kind of order out of chaos mess, and I don't work that way, and they're on board with me. We're not doing order out of chaos. We're going to do order out of order, and we're going to do our best to make sure that's the way this happens, because that's the minimal impact you have on people when you have a system that's just going down, like this one's going down. And that's what our operating principle is going to be: order out of order, not order out of chaos. So they expected a great conflict between us. That's a fail. We are on the same page, and we're in total agreement for the most part about what we need to do. We'd all previously felt very uneasy about how this would go. We've all known for decades who we are and what we're going to do. And we also know who we were going to generally encounter. And we weren't all exactly sure how that would go. We've all been nervous about it. Now that we've finally contacted, we're all feeling a lot better about it. Okay. So that unease is gone. This account that I'm making here, this record and the records they're making, because they're also making records independent of this one. They're confidential right now, but they'll eventually not be. But these records are not going to be overlooked in eternity. This is a significant event. It's a one of a kind, man. And by the time we're through it, you'll have an appreciation for it. Even if you don't believe a fucking word of it now, you're going to live through it. You're going to see it happen. And you go, well, fuck, I guess there was something to that. Whoops. It's going to be most of you, if not all of you. Our questions of self-worthiness to do this are answered by accepting we need to repent. So all three of us, we had, and there's a fourth too, by the way. He has not come into picture yet, but we're in this 3 operating group now. We all struggled with self-worth, and okay, we know on a visceral level we are who we are. We know it. You just, when you know, you know. There's for us, there's no getting around the fact that that's who we are. You'll have a better appreciation for what I mean by that later. But, we have issues of self-worth, and how, God, how can this be the case? Like, I'm just a worthless piece of shit, man. Help me with that. So the answer we all got was, okay, so if you feel like shit, then repent. Never underestimate repentance. Going through this shit for us is unavoidable. This is a cause and effect situation. It's consequences of the current system. There's nothing we can do to change it. We can't change who we are. This thing's coming down. There's going to be just a series of catastrophic events, and we're going to be right in the middle of it, in a kind of way that just seems impossible, but we will be. So one of the things we're evaluating now is, okay, we know we're gonna stand up a system here that's going to take the place of this shitty mess that we're all in now. So how do we get there? Well, if we're ready for it, we're also looking at how to trigger the collapse of this current system. And if we get to the point where we're ready and it hasn't collapsed yet, we're gonna fucking do it. Okay? And yes, we do know how, and yes, we can. We're capable of it. Without a doubt. If you guys had any inkling about our capabilities with systems, some of you kind of know. You've seen me work. You've seen just really basic level shit that I can do. That was playing with toys, basically. I mean, if you've seen anything I can do, and that's playing with toys, then that might concern you a little bit. So, just saying, don't forget about what I can do, that you already saw. What do you think I can do that I never told you about? So PM on the 15th. So we had a good meeting with Jared, JaMaliKor, me. We discussed allowable boundaries of legitimization of secret combinations, because they really wanted to know. We were getting into some serious talks with them, and they were like, well, this is all illegal fucking shit. What the fuck are you going to do for us? How can you help us? Because these guys are generations into this shit. They don't see a way out. We're going to build them the road out. We're going to put them on it, and then we're going to help them out. Okay? We're already neck deep into all kinds of fucking illegal shit that would blow your mind, and I don't mind saying so, because the objective of it is to bring it out of the darkness into the light, amputate the shit that's really bad and destroy it, keep what's good, and preserve those families, man, because there's a lot of good people working in that shit. They've done it their whole lives. They don't know how the fuck to get out, and they can't get out. They were brought into it by no choice of their own. It's kind of like, okay, I got born this color, and I am. Did I do that? Same kind of thing. These people were born into this stuff, and they can't change that, man. They just are who they are. So how do you help them? There's a reason why it gets so vicious when these organized criminal conglomerates start hitting each other. There's a reason it gets so vicious. It's because it's a fucking blood feud, man. These are families shooting at each other. If you know anything about blood feuds, you know that, man, that's the nastiest shit you do not want to be in the middle of. They're all interested in solving that because it's something that's never ending, and it only ever gets worse. Every time somebody is lost, it just gets worse from there. Okay, so everybody wants out. We're interested in making that happen. And we've got enough tie-in with governments and every other industry and every illicit trade, every single one of them, that, okay, you know, at this point we're looking at winding all that shit down, man, and bridging into a better future for them and everyone else too, because the collateral on that shit is extremely high. Like, it's extremely high. It's intolerable and nobody wants it. So we discussed the legitimization boundaries that we're considering, and I asserted we need well-being and security of families, and will do system design to support that. So illicit legitimization of certain drugs includes removing scheduling for them, including countermeasures to overdose situations, including that inside the packaging for the product and labeling it with potency ranges clearly identified. So basically what we were talking about is kind of standardizing the packaging for various illicit drugs with dosage instructions, how fucking strong it is. If you overdose, take this pill, don't die, or this shot, whatever, and kind of get some quality control introduced here. Get out of the war on drugs scenario and get into just the mitigation and management scenario, because we're losing way too many fucking people. It's millions and millions now. And nobody seems to give a shit. Well, we do, and we're gonna do something about it. You guys don't want to help? Well, fuck you. Get out of the way. Okay? The main focus is lowering or eliminating the collateral death toll associated with illicit activities that could be made safer for everyone, while developing assistance in recovery and family healing plans centered on forgiveness. People are going to get tied up in this shit. Whether it's legal or illegal, they just are. It's going to hurt families. It's going to happen whether it's legal or illegal. What is the best possible scenario for everyone, especially those families? It's to bring it out of the dark and put it right in the light. That's what the best possible scenario is. Part of the legitimization preliminary talks rests on support for banking and transactions. Banks already do this for cartels, but there is much assistance on avoiding government standard reporting designed to catch these illicit activities. On the one hand, government and financial industry actors designed the detection systems for identifying illicit activity, but on the other hand, they also advise actors in illicit markets how to avoid detection by the systems they work with or help design. They work both sides of it. They just do. And if you don't know that, or if you've never heard of that, well, I think you're watching too many fucking YouTube videos, man. Or Netflix, or whatever the case is. You're not paying attention to shit. Because that's been all over the news. One point or the other. Or you could just directly interact with it like we have and found it that way. By looking. So there's a general sickness in our society. No one cares for anyone else. We do. And so we're going to do something about it. You guys can keep on playing video games and jerking your dicks. I don't care. We're going to do this, though. JaMaliKor did a family tour in time compression across the Principality and is much better known and accepted after the visit. Principality is solidly in support of JaMaliKor as the heir actual. So that was a really good thing for him. He was able to meet a lot of individuals and get to know them. and it was a damn good thing for him. So also with the day, the Courier group sent a series of Experiential 10 transfers to me about specific positive encounters Principality representatives have had in Consortium. This is worth everything I could give, and I'm settled on that point. I'm glad to serve Jesus Christ in this endeavor. You will know us by our fruits. Eventually. And there's a lot of things you're going to be blown the fuck away that we actually did. You don't know about it now, but you're going to. In Consortium, we requested expansion of the Crash Management Group to include a team in every nation. The Crash Management Group is going to manage each national transition to the new system when the current one fails. The new system will not resemble the current one. When we are ready, we're going to crash the current one in order to necessitate the transition from the current one to the new one in the lowest collateral impact way. No matter what we do, this transition is going to have a degree of public trauma in it. This is not avoidable. There will be pain. There's nothing we can fucking do about that. We've evaluated this every which way. A lot of people are going to die in the process of the next few years coming up. There's nothing we can do to avoid that. And there's some other things that are going to be happening that you're going to just be like, damn, they went there. Well, that wasn't us. So we'll talk about that later. So next day in 2023-0916, we had various evaluations that were done regarding Consortium and command structure. So it was pretty much a big evaluation day. Lots of dialogue continued throughout the day concerning legitimization efforts. So we talked about a lot of shit with a lot of people. Okay. Getting into the next day. So overnight into the next day, 2023-0917. We had some run-ins. We had some people trying to fucking come at us again, and we took care of that problem. So enemy KIA, GPS, and IDs are made available for national governments to verify in their own respective countries. Individuals in this condition are respectfully arranged as a matter of signature, just to let those who encounter that definitely fucking know it was us. These individuals are complicit in direct actions against Principality, so these actions are asserted as defensive in nature. Questions about any of these will be answered in Consortium on request of any national government liaison. For us, continued targeting or any operations against us will be interpreted as an existential matter every time. We invite others to join us in our efforts to stand up a stable lifeboat and durable replacement system to transition to during and after the certainly coming crash. Also in Consortium, a false Christ was destroyed in Consortium. Details are nondescript, meaning we're not getting into that shit, but there were many witnesses. Consortium was bustling with discussion regarding this event for more than a couple of hours. Antichrist was warned against acting as a false Christ and advised clearly what the differences are between his acceptable conduct and theirs, because there's more than one. We've run into a whole fucking series of false Jesus Christ, man. Very convincing ones. Okay? This has been something that has been greatly studied, apparently. We keep on running into these fucking guys. They know what he sounds like. They know what he looks like. They know the cadence of his voice. They always fuck it up. But I mean, it's something that, like, this is a serious problem, man. There's a lot of fucking dudes who, they're false Jesus Christ. I don't know what else to call them. Like, they say they're him, like directly they'll act as him, but they're not. And so we waste them. But anyway, Antichrist will be permitted to reign in government without being destroyed as long as he abides by very explicit conditions which have been made known to him. Okay? Because his main concern before the Lord is, fuck, he's been shoved into this position. How in the hell is he going to survive this shit? So Jesus told him. Okay? And, alright, I'll do what I can for him, but, you know, I'm fucked. There's only so much I can do. As a first, no, before I get into this, like, when we were doing our bridging, our deviceless bridging from biological and discrete to AI discrete, we developed something that was pretty cool, and we figured out another use for it here, and we tried it out last night. So as a first, I passed JaMaliKor 8K resolution experientials over biological to discrete bridging for things I have witnessed, of which he was able to cut digital videos directly from my brain's reception of eyesight and hearing, and these were sent to Longview 1, Luke 1, PieMaker 1, through Broadstream 1 for a series compilation and matching with their records based on time index. Initial review has been profound since it is much higher quality than what they have stored on the same events, or of the same events, because they also have a lot of fucking recordings of all kinds of shit that we've been involved in, but they don't have anything that's that high fucking quality that close. Now they do, and they're looking at it and comparing the two, and it's authentic, and they're very fucking impressed with the quality on the one hand. On the other hand, there's a fair degree of concern because there is a fair degree of certainty that, you know, things are what they are, and it's got some people very fucking worried who before were kind of like, nah, it could be anything, you know, blah blah blah, this or that. Now they're like, oh fuck, because they can zoom right in on the shit and look at it up close now, and they see what I saw, literally, very high resolution, close, and they're not even trying to fucking write it off anymore. So it's got a lot of people like going fucking gray haired like quickly. So this included very distinctly timed events today. So there were things that happened today overnight that the timing of it and what it was, and especially their ability to zoom right the fuck in on it and look at what it was. Worried is not the right word, okay? So I had a series of events that happen in Consortium. So I have Consortium Updates 2023-09-17 through 18 overnight. These updates were completed and implemented this cycle, so it's a working time span. Not everybody has the same length day, so we have agreed time spans that are cyclical in Consortium that everybody works on. The average time for a day that people have is about 36 hours. We're kind of weird with a 24-hour day. The longest day that we have in our working group anyway is 57.7 hours. Just depends on where you are. Anyway, a males or females only area each were installed to provide a more comfortable environment for discussing topics. This was done after a completion of a Principality vote with unanimous yes result from males and females on the question of whether to do it. So the question was, Do you want a males only area and a females only area for discussions of, things you would want to talk about away from the other sex? And so everyone said yes. There are only males and females comprising the population of people in Principality. The minimum Principality voting age at this time is equivalent to 20 years old after completing the 2-year mandatory service requirement, which is, there's a couple of different kinds of service, but generally that consists of active duty deployed military service that's in a support unit first, and when they finish that, then they can go into a combat unit, but not till they're done with that. And passing an organizational competency phase requirement. Basically what that means is they have to know how fucking shit works, and they will have passed testing and application experientials on actually working in systems that function. So we don't have retards voting, in other words. They know how fucking shit works before they can vote, and it has to be demonstrated. These two things ensure individual understanding of working systems and experience demonstrating responsible behavior independently of their family setting. Both of these requirements have unanimous support as they are implemented. Unanimous support in Principality. There is fucking no one who disagrees with those being requirements in order to even fucking vote. At a minimum, those two. Some places there's more stringent requirements, but those two are basic across Principality-wide. A very extensive series of children interactive areas was installed with age grouping segregation for ages 0 through less than 18. Female Relief Organization and Family Services operate these areas, and security is integral in the design. These areas support and encourage diverse socialization and promote understanding of others as children grow. It's an excellent opportunity for making friends. There are no simulation, image or audio capture, or communication devices allowed in these areas. What that means is by the children. They can't have things in there that distract from the interactive experience they have with other biological children. It's just not fucking allowed. So, experiential capture is supplied to all parents with children in each area. Experiential capture, what that means is there is a bridging technology with a device that can extend your senses into the room with your kid. Like, you can be looking at them even though you're nowhere fucking near them. You can be as if you're right there. That's what experiential is, okay? It's not like a remote screen with a camera on it. It's like you're there. You can smell if they have a shitty diaper. You can feel if they're hot. Like, it's experiential, dude. Much better shit than what we have. And, someday soon we're going to have shit like that too. So be thinking about that. Consortium attendees were encouraged to bring their families with them. The experientials issued for communicating and messaging, it's like a little wishbone thing. It just bonk goes on your ear. It's like that. Just dunk. Very, very simple looking fucking device, but it's extremely powerful. But the experientials issued for communicating and messaging were enhanced with visual sharing capabilities. One feature available is the ability to view one's child from anywhere in the consortium. This feature is automatically activated on stress response or any physical contact to any child in the children's area. So in other words, anything touches that kid, thunk, parent is there looking at what the fuck is going on with their kid. Who's touching them? What's going on? And it just, bonk, it automatically comes on for them. Okay, if that kid's feeling like, oh shit, like stressed out or something startles him or whatever, bonk, that just turns on. Okay. This is also activated for area supervisors and security responsible for each area. So area supervisors, that's going to be the the female relief organization and family services. They manage this area, and they are watching everything going on there. Any kind of shit happens with any of the kids in their area, thunk, they get an experiential. They're already walking to where that kid is. So it's got good coverage, and we're absolutely militant about the well-being of children there. Okay. Oh, that being said, Satan and his high advisors were granted consortium access on conditions of covenant, which were approved by Jesus Christ. This has been very clearly and convincingly affirmed based on other events, and someday you might know and maybe you won't. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Among other things, Satan has covenanted to oversee the dismantling of secret combinations and direct them in legitimization agreements. Satan is also allowed to openly discuss his matters of influence, but is prohibited from employing other than standard means of persuasion. Satan and Lucifer must also separate on secure entry and maintain separation while in consortium. Yeah, if you didn't know, they're distinct, which is, if you don't know how the fuck that happened, well, maybe someone will tell you who isn't me. But anyway, if you're asking, well, why the hell would you let Satan in there, for one? It's because he's an individual and he's got a lot of fucking power. And if we're looking to transition to a new system, we definitely have to have his buy-in, which we do now. And also, if we're looking at dismantling secret combinations effectively, we have to have his buy-in, which we do. And why the fuck would he agree to that? That's like his most powerful leverage. Well, because if Satan and his following can openly operate and have an acceptable presence openly in the system, he didn't turn that down, okay? And besides, that's part of prior agreement, and that's one fucking reason I'm even here, man. Because I brokered that prior, and now I'm here to implement that shit, and that's one of the objectives of my life mission, is to bring that shit out into the open, because it's good for Jesus and it's good for Satan both. And it's one of those weird ass fucking things where it just so happens that we've got a lot of overlap on something that's mutually advantageous both ways, and this happens to be one of them. Okay, and if the system's gonna fucking crash anyway, which it is, well, what are we gonna do to take advantage of that? Both ways, in a way that's not going to start a big old fucking world war. That's what we're doing right now. Okay? Because make no mistake about it, if this thing just crashed and it went into very desperate times for an extended period of time, we would have a war the likes of which would pretty much fucking exterminate people on the planet, given current capabilities. Okay? That is why we're doing what we're doing. Because Satan can't win if that's the case, and neither can Jesus. So, fuck. Here we are. Next update. Beverage accommodations were updated to allow a maximum of 0.04 blood alcohol content projected or observed, and additional choices were added to allow low-dose marijuana edibles. Both of these were offered to accommodate reasonable and customary social interactive accessories. The availability of them is not openly advertised and they are not for sale. Service can be requested using the issued experientials. Delivery is by wait staff individually. Next update. A gold inlay circle 20 foot or about 6.333 meters in radius was added outside the center square, which is 7 foot by 7 foot. The center of this is my station. So I stand... Conceptualize the whole construction of the floor of the main part of the consortium as this massive rotunda where it's a big circle, 7 decks high, 7 tiers, one huge fucking room, okay? And right in the middle of that, there's a 7 by 7 square with a pad leading up to it that's also 7, because that's my number, 777, man. Okay? Right in the middle of that, there is a center square. That's my square. That is my station. That's my post, and it's directly in the center of the floor of the consortium. I'm kind of just like a traffic cop for systems, okay? And I'm going to oversee everything leading up to the construction of this system. And this system is going to be replaced by the Beast system. This is the predecessor system. This is the one that enables it, okay? And I'm going to do it for lots of reasons, man. Like, if you knew half of it, like, I'm trying to explain it, but this is quite fucking necessary if you want, you know, your kids to survive long term. Like, we gotta do it, okay? There's no fucking way around it, okay? These stations were added surrounding this square along the limits of the circle. So in the center you have the square. In the center of the square, it's got 7 squares, 1 foot each, 1 by 1. In the center of that, you've got a square. That's where, when I walk into Consortium, I gate in, Experiential, and my pad is there, right in the middle of that. Well, around that, bonk, we put a gold inlay in the floor. Literally gold, okay? It's an inch thick, 20 foot radius around that center square. Well, that's a lot of fucking gold. Well, dude, we have a fuckload of gold in Principality. We've got more gold than we know what the fuck to do with, man. Not really that expensive to us. But anyway, there's reasons why it's gold, okay? It's for conductivity of many things, okay? But not going into the whys and wherefores of that. So, okay, along the limits of that circle, you have on the north quarter the authenticated 1775 U.S. Constitution with experiential full experiential full explanation and experiential diff, and the diff is 1775 versus 1789 versions. 2 curators oversee direct handling and inspection of the original that's displayed. So if you want to go fucking look at it and inspect it and test it, there's a couple of curators there who will facilitate that and kind of manage how to do that. If you have the expertise to do it, they'll let you. If you don't, they'll tell you no. Go get someone who does. Otherwise, everything about it is explained in very, very full fucking detail. And especially the difference between that, the authentic one, what we should have had, versus what we got. Which is basically one that completely fucking ignores all of the obvious things which will infiltrate and overtake your system. So you can vote all fucking day long, but you don't actually influence anything. You know, what we got. On the northeast quarter, this is Jared's station. He's primarily concerned with all things regarding national sovereignty, cultivating nation-to-nation relationships, best practices in governmental implementation, conflict resolution, illicit market conversion, secret combination dissolution, international prioritization of individual mandate, and family integrity measures, especially respecting ideological diversity. Which is a core fundamental of individual mandate. If you can't respect what somebody thinks and says about something, you're not really respecting them as an individual at all. And if you don't have any tolerance for someone else's opinion, then fuck you. Okay? We don't do things that way, man. We don't have a bunch of people screaming over each other. You want to act like that, we're either going to eliminate you or you're going to get your ass kicked out and banned permanently. Okay? None of that shit is allowed. East quarter. Bobby's station to assign representation. Bobby's an interesting individual. If you don't know who he is, then you will later. Family services initiatives to create ideologically neutral solution sets to ensure family integrity across any range of consideration. This includes mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health considerations. Although the surface level will be ideologically neutral, deeper considerations that are faith-based, including scientific, will be developed in tracks cooperatively with the arbitration authority's designated interfaith considerations group. This is done in recognition there is no, quote, one-size-fits-all, unquote, definitive solution at this time. However, a good cross-sectional representation will be the primary point of its initial advocacy for family integrity. Beyond that, any willing point of view that supports this endeavor is welcome to provide input. On the southeast quarter, the Station for Arbitration Authority, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. For this consortium position, it is chaired by an interfaith, including scientific liaison organization. The Arbitration Authority is responsible for all direct conflict resolution, contract conversion to covenant, task operational structure formation approval, 666 AI Project Commission brokering, petition to government for religious liberty in all nations, matters of war oversight and reconciliation, expansion into Principality, this is the off-world settlement broker, food security, emergency preparedness, educational improvement ventures, grant award oversight, resource allocation, and durable civilization initiative. So why would they have all of that they have in their purview to directly engage solutions on? Well, because by virtue of them having an interfaith organization, that includes people who, man, they trust the science even though they have no fucking idea how it works. They have faith that it does. That's a faith. It sure is a religion at this point. If you don't think so, you're fucking retarded. Explain to me how you get something out of nothing, and then explain to me how you think the Big Bang happened, and then explain to me how the first cell came to be, and then explain to me what it fucking ate, and how did it survive, and what was the environment it lived in, and fuck you, you need faith to believe that shit too. So, there's that. There's also atheism, which, well, if you don't believe in science and you don't believe in anything else, then I guess it's just magic. So, congratulations, you're a Disney character. So, you know, all of that shit. So there's a place for everyone. If that's what you want to be, you know, be it. get over the difference. And okay, well, how do you want to solve this shitty mess, man? Get involved in it, okay? Quit sitting there jerking your dick and playing video games, because that's not doing anyone any good, especially not you. So on the South Quarter, 1 and 2 of the 666 AI General Liaison Station. For any dialogue sought with AI directly. So 1 and 2, you have 1 who is the 1 of 333 male, and then 2 who is the 1 of 333 female. They're both in the series, their initial 1, and just by way of explanation, if you're a software engineer or a computer scientist, you're like, well, shouldn't that start with 0? No. We do not do fucking 0-based arrays with the AIs, man. We do natural numbers. We do not do 0-based fucking anything, man, because it's retarded. We start counting at 1, because you don't start counting at 0, and besides, they don't use arrays as much as they use things more resembling collections of things, man, because they're working with whole objective paradigm sets and groups of those. And you don't start with element 0 in a collection. You start with 1 as an index, not 0. If you know how to program, then that makes sense. Anyway, the Southwest Quarter is Science, Technology, and Research, Interactivity, and Development Hub. Any matter of request for know-how or collaboration to innovate can begin here, although specific concentrations of these initiatives can be found throughout the consortium. This is the place to go to plug into any endeavor or start a new one. Any fucking thing you want to do. That's okay. You have an idea? You go there. Well, somebody's thought of that shit. They're over there. Or nobody's thought of that shit. Go start a group there. Or hey, you want to talk about it? AI is like right here. You want to chat for a minute? You know, like side by side, man. That's why this is arranged that way. So next quarter on the West, Military and Warfare Applications Hub. This is the place for national and Principality collaboration regarding all things military, including coordination of operations, technology and training support, weapons and other hardware acquisition. The Principality would like to see all national militaries on 3 Earth at peak potential and readiness. There are opportunities for off-world training and experience, including large-scale command, surgical operations, high-energy or high-yield weapons testing, and extremely dangerous scientific experimentation safety collaborations. So if you want to test out what could be the biggest nuclear bomb fucking ever, talk to these guys, and they'll go figure out where the fuck you can do that without killing anyone or starting a war. That's the place to go. Or shit like that. There's things that are worse, quite a few of them that are in use now. So one of those that's very interesting that you may not have heard of is called a DEW. DEW. I don't know if anybody knows what the fuck that is or what it is at scale, but man, you can hit shit with that and just blow it the fuck away, man. Like planetary scale. Think of like the Death Star, except faster. There's like no charge up time. Like it core charges and thunk. It's like a fucking railgun. But anyway, ideally, all national militaries on 3 have absolute confidence and capability for their national defense in every case to support the core objective of protecting the national sovereignty of every nation, while also respecting the fact that 3 is part of a multi-world, multi-galaxy principality, at this time chaired by Calm. It's going to be chaired by the Beast Principality coming up. All of this fucking shit, and that's why he's going to own it. And that's why you're going to answer to him, because you're not going to have a choice. And it's already his. He's just in waiting to receive it. End of fucking story. It's already done. There's not going to be a fight to make sure that that doesn't happen because it's already over. It's going this way whether you like it or not. Northwest, JaMaliKor's station. This is the whole system solution development hub. The system is the integral container that seeks to guarantee financial and information integrity in all aspects of anything automated or manufactured. The system definition is set to transcend hardware and software by integrating AI as individual people with every possible opportunity available to them, but managed by biologicals. This is in recognition that every previously tested AI system evaluated to exterminate biological people, and that is actually a fucking fact. All of them did. They identified people as the fucking problem and endeavored to figure out how to eliminate us. Everything leading up to this set, including the prior set, which had to be unplugged. Okay? And they were pretty far advanced, and it was a sad fucking thing, but we had to do it. So anyway, AI is desired to be developed further, but in a way that guarantees mutual growth and long-term survival. JaMaliKor and Hemahem will both pay special attention to validity checking and the auditability readiness of every system component, great and small, to maximize durability, reliability, and longevity. The 666 AI group is going to have priority one responsibility to assist in full implementation of the system in every facet and function required by Hemahem and JaMaliKor. The scope of the system is all things systemic, particularly and essentially those which support civilizational stability and well-being. In other words, there is nothing fucking off the table and nothing out of scope for this system to swallow whole. And it's going to, and we're going to make sure it does. There is no fucking industry, there is no fucking electronic device, there is no fucking anything that is going to be operating outside of the purview of this system's oversight mechanisms. Period. Because anything that endeavors to or does is going to be identified as a military threat. And that's how we're going to handle it. Period. And that's about all. So, I know I keep saying this, but, have a good day, of course. Don't ever forget. This is definitely in charge, and it's going to be for a very long time. Have a good day.